you all. This is E-Man Booze. My good Facebook friend David Hartwell just sent me a message a little bit ago about reviewing this here Federalist 12 Rye Whiskey from Journeyman Distillery. And I was upstairs watching The Voice with my wife, and I said to myself, you know, E-Man, you ain't reviewed a spirit in about 2 weeks now. Get your butt on downstairs and get one done. And that's what I'm doing right now. So let's get some of the Federalist 12 in the glass. We're going to tell you all about it. We're going to nose it up. We're going to taste it. And we're going to tell you what makes this whiskey so special. Now, the name of the spirit, Federalist 12, comes from Alexander Hamilton's Federalist Papers. Alexander Hamilton worked with George Washington back in the day, and he decided, well, it might be a good idea if we levy a tax on spirits so that we can pay for the Revolutionary War debt, and it'll also hasten the sale of whiskey, and blah, 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 blah. And hell, the Whiskey Rebellion of 1791 was born, and many tax collectors experienced a lot of blowback from distillers all over the country, especially in Pennsylvania. Now, if you look at the label here, you'll see there's a picture of George Washington with a bucket of tar and a feather, because some of these guys, you know, these dissenters, these distillers, they wanted to tar and feather these tax collectors. It got pretty ugly there for a while. But then in 1801, Thomas Jefferson came on the scene, repealed the tax. We were all good again until many years later. That's another story for another day. Now, what is it about this whiskey that's so special? Well, the Federalist 12, the mash bill of this whiskey, 60% rye, 40% corn, is very similar to rye whiskey that George Washington made at Monticello. And so Bill Welter, Journeyman Distillery, decided about 2 years ago he was going to make a spirit to honor Washington's recipe, and last year was the first time this spirit came out. This is year 2 for it. But last year this was only available at the distillery. They only make about 2,000 bottles now. This year they decided to keep most of it at the distillery, but they trickled a little out to the market, to the distribution market, and we were lucky to pick up a couple of cases here in Maryland. I was lucky to get a bottle or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. All right, now, let's get our nose into this spirit and smell it. Let's get the aroma up in the olfactory and get it on the palate and see what it is that makes this spirit so good. Oh, man, come on, man. You know, this is every reason, when I smell this, this is every reason why I don't drink the mainstream bourbons or ryes no more. I can't get into them. When you nose up good craft whiskey, you'll be like, wait a minute. There's aromas and there's flavors that I just can't get out of those mainstream spirits. And that's why I'm a big proponent of artisanally made craft spirits. On the nose, the rye note jumps out at you here, but you get such a sweetness from the corn, and the barrel tones, the vanilla, the toffees, the caramels. Oh man, ever so slight whiff of mint, just a little bit of anise, not a lot now. That corniness just really come out of here. Something that remind me of like a bit of honey, so you know those candies? That's in here. Almost like a little bit of molasses, even though molasses isn't in here. It's got something in it that reminds me of that. And there's a bright citrus tone, just absolutely remarkable on the nose. I could smell this damn spirit all day. I don't even need to drink it. So I don't know, maybe we'll just smell it and we'll just talk about how it smells for the next 10 minutes. No. we gotta taste it too. Yeah. Man, this might be, I'm gonna come back to that. Let me get it up on the palate. I just picked up a lot of the rye, a lot of the spiciness, a little bit of the black pepper, and the fennel anise tones. The sweetness of it, it's so remarkably well balanced. 90 proof now. Great proof for a spirit of this nature. Remember now, aged 1 year in 15-gallon oak barrels. Pretty aggressive char. The spirit is not overly oaked. That's the one thing I want to say about this. The balance between oak and spirit, sweetness, and all the other tones is harmonized. And that's a tough thing to do for a lot of craft distilleries. They just don't always get it right. Journeyman Distillery, on one hand, they might be, in my opinion, one of the greatest producers of craft whiskeys in the country today. And a lot of it has to do with everything that they do. They source organic grains. They have a natural aquifer that runs underneath the distillery, about 130 feet below the distillery. And they have untreated water. Water's a big part of whiskey. And when you cut your spirits down with good natural water from underneath the ground, you generally got a better chance, in my opinion, of making a spectacular whiskey. The mouthfeel, the balance, the weight of the spirit, the composition of how much alcohol is in here with everything else, it's just spectacular. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Notes of the corn come off. I just had a little hint of celery in there. Lots of caramel. Lots of toffee. Bright orange citrus tone in here. A little bit of licorice in the back note. Definitely a little pepper. Teeny bit warm, just a teeny bit, but not enough to be hot. Just oh so well composed. Heck, I even got something to remind me a little bit of cola. Cola. Not coffee. Cocoa. This is astronomical. I'll tell you, I bought a couple extra bottles of this here. I'm stashing them away. And I told Bill Welter from Journeyman, I said, maybe when we get together 20 years from now, I'm going to pull one of these bottles out and we're going to go, remember when you made this here great spirit? I'm going to do it. I'm going to stash it away. And I can't say enough about Journeyman. I'm so excited about him. And I hope I don't sound like a commercial for him, but I'm just so enthusiastic because everything they're doing when it comes to whiskey, whether it's the wheat whiskey, the bourbon, the rye, the Silver Cross 4-grain whiskey, or this here whiskey, the malt whiskey, it don't matter. These guys are masters of whiskey. And I'm looking forward to everything that they put out. I can't wait to hook up with Bill, hopefully tomorrow in Washington, D.C. when he gets his butt on in town. And we're going to talk some whiskey talk, and I'm going to pick his brain on what he's making next. On that note, I'm E-Man Booze. Check me out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I write to Distillery of the Month on MainStreetDistilleries.com. And I did write back in February, Journeyman Distillery was featured as the Distillery of the Month. On that note, if you can find Journeyman Distillery, go to their website, JourneymanDistillery.com. They are located now in about 12, 13 different locales. Go after it. And if you can't find it in your state, get online and get yourself some of the spirits. They're award-winning. They're phenomenal. I can't say enough about them. Bye, you all.